Welcome, dear listener, to this journey through the profound darkness of night and the illuminating wisdom of Friedrich Nietzsche. As you settle into the comfort of your resting place, allowing your body to find its natural rhythm of rest, we embark together on an exploration of one of philosophy's most powerful teachers on the art of human resilience. Tonight, as the world grows quiet around you and the distractions of day fade into memory, we will discover together how chaos need not be your enemy, but rather your most profound teacher. Nietzsche, the German philosopher who lived from 1844 to 1900, understood something fundamental about human strength that many of us forget in our daily struggles: that our greatest power comes not from avoiding difficulty, but from learning to transform it into the very substance of our growth. Let your breathing slow and deepen as we begin this nocturnal journey. Feel the weight of your body against your resting place. Notice how naturally your muscles begin to release the accumulated tensions of the day. This physical letting go mirrors what Nietzsche taught us about psychological resilience. It is not a forcing, not a rigid holding on, but a flowing, a graceful adaptation to what is. The philosopher who will guide us tonight lived his teachings intimately. Nietzsche suffered from debilitating migraines, chronic illness, and profound isolation. He watched his ideas be misunderstood and rejected by the academic establishment of his time. He experienced the death of close friendships, financial uncertainty, and ultimately, mental breakdown. Yet from these very experiences, not in spite of them, but because of how he chose to meet them, he developed insights about human resilience that continue to illuminate our path more than a century later. As you listen tonight, allow these ideas to wash over you like gentle waves on an ancient shore. There is no need to grasp at every concept, no need to analyze or remember with your conscious mind. Simply let the wisdom of centuries flow through your consciousness as you drift toward rest. Your deeper mind will absorb what serves you, will integrate what helps you grow stronger, more flexible, more at peace with life's inevitable storms. Nietzsche once wrote, "One must have chaos within oneself to give birth to a dancing star." Tonight, we explore what this profound statement means for you, for your current struggles, for your relationship with uncertainty, for your journey toward a more resilient and serene way of being in the world. We will discover how the very experiences that seem to threaten your stability can become the foundation of an unshakable inner strength. The night itself becomes our teacher as we begin. Notice how darkness does not oppose light but makes it possible. Without the darkness of space, the stars could not shine. Without the darkness of soil, seeds cannot germinate. Without the darkness of the womb, life cannot develop. In the same way, the dark periods of our lives, the chaos, the confusion, the pain, are not obstacles to our growth but the very conditions in which our deepest wisdom develops. Chapter 1: Understanding the Nature of Chaos. Breathe deeply now, and let us contemplate together what chaos truly means in the landscape of your life. Perhaps it manifests as uncertainty about the future that keeps you awake at night, as unexpected changes that disrupt the comfortable patterns you have established, as relationships that challenge you in ways you never anticipated. Maybe chaos appears in your life as illness that reminds you of your mortality, as loss that breaks open your heart, as the simple daily accumulation of small stresses that seem to have no clear resolution. Nietzsche understood, with a clarity born from his own intimate acquaintance with difficulty, that chaos is not an unfortunate accident of life. It is life itself in its most creative and transformative mode. He lived this truth in his own flesh, his own mind, his own heart. The chaos he experienced was not merely something he endured. It became the raw material from which he forged his philosophy of strength. Allow your mind to become more receptive as we explore this revolutionary way of understanding difficulty. Imagine, in the growing quiet of your thoughts, that chaos is like the weather, sometimes gentle rain that nourishes growth, sometimes powerful storms that test the strength of trees, sometimes drought that forces roots to grow deeper, sometimes floods that carve new channels for rivers to flow. The conventional wisdom tells us to seek shelter from the storm, to wait it out, to endure until conditions improve. Nietzsche offers us a radically different approach: to dance with the storm, to let it teach us new movements, to discover in its wildness a freedom we never knew we possessed. This is not reckless abandon, but the deepest kind of wisdom, the recognition that life's creative force often appears first as destruction of what we thought we needed. Your body, even as you rest here in comfort, knows this truth instinctively. When you exercise, you deliberately create controlled chaos in your muscles, microscopic tears that, when they heal, leave you stronger than before. When you sleep, your brain creates the chaos of dreams, reorganizing memories and processing experiences in ways that conscious thought cannot accomplish. When you love deeply, you open yourself to the beautiful chaos of vulnerability, knowing that great joy and great sorrow often walk hand in hand. Think gently now of a time in your own life when what initially appeared as catastrophe eventually revealed itself as catalyst. Perhaps it was a relationship that ended and forced you to discover your own capacity for independence. Maybe it was a job loss that pushed you toward work that better matched your values. It might have been an illness that taught you to appreciate simple pleasures you had taken for granted, or a failure that humbled you into greater compassion for others who struggle. This is what Nietzsche meant when he spoke of the eternal return. Not that events literally repeat, but that we can learn to embrace our lives so completely, including the difficult parts, that we would choose to live them again exactly as they were. This is not masochism. It is the recognition that our struggles are not separate from our growth. They are the very means by which growth occurs. As you continue to relax into this understanding, feel how your breathing naturally adjusts to your current position, how your body finds comfort even in imperfection. Your physical form is teaching you about resilience in this very moment. It knows how to adapt, how to find rest even when conditions are not ideal, how to maintain its essential functions while remaining flexible in its responses to changing circumstances. This biological wisdom points toward a deeper truth that Nietzsche articulated. Resilience is not about becoming harder or more defended, but about becoming more fluid, more responsive, more creative in our engagement with whatever life presents. The oak tree that stands rigid may snap in the hurricane, but the bamboo that bends with the wind survives to grow another day. The chaos you are experiencing right now in your life, whatever form it takes, is not a deviation from your path but an essential part of it. It is not something you must overcome to begin living fully. It is the very context in which your fullest life can emerge. This realization alone can transform your relationship to difficulty from one of resistance and resentment to one of curiosity and collaboration. Chapter 2: The Will to Power as Creative Force. Nietzsche's most profound and misunderstood teachings, the will to power. This concept has been twisted and misrepresented by those who would use philosophy to justify domination and cruelty. But Nietzsche's original insight points towards something far more beautiful and transformative: the fundamental creative force within every living being that seeks not to control others, but to express its own unique nature more fully, to grow into its own authentic becoming. Your breathing has found its natural rhythm now, steady and peaceful, requiring no conscious effort. This is itself an expression of the will to power, not your will forcing your breath, but life itself breathing through you, maintaining the delicate balance that keeps you alive and growing. With each exhale, you release what your body no longer needs. With each inhale, you draw in the raw materials for continued existence and development. The will to power, in Nietzsche's understanding, is like the force that drives a seed to sprout in darkness, to push through soil, to reach toward light. It does not question whether the light is there, it simply grows toward what it needs. If obstacles block its direct path, it grows around them, through them, over them. If the soil is poor, it extends its roots deeper and wider. If the weather is harsh, it develops stronger stems and deeper roots. This is not struggle against life. This is life expressing itself through apparent limitation. Consider for a moment the profound intelligence of this force as it operates in your own existence. Every morning when you wake up, something within you chooses to engage with another day, even when that day promises to bring challenges you would prefer to avoid. When you care for someone you love, even when caring is difficult and thankless, you are expressing this will to power, not power over the other person, but the power of love to express itself through action. When you learn something new, even when the learning process is frustrating and slow, you are allowing this creative force to expand your capabilities. Nietzsche experienced many profound setbacks in his life: chronic illness that limited his physical activities, intellectual isolation as his ideas were rejected or misunderstood, emotional pain as important relationships ended. Yet through each of these experiences, he discovered that what seemed like limitation could become the source of strength. His physical weakness forced him to develop intellectual and spiritual resources he might never have accessed otherwise. His isolation allowed him to think thoughts that social conformity would have made impossible. His emotional suffering deepened his understanding of the human condition in ways that easy happiness could never have achieved. This is the paradox of the will to power as Nietzsche understood it. It often grows strongest not when conditions are easy, but when they are challenging. Like a river that becomes most powerful when it must flow around boulders, the creative force within you develops its greatest strength when it encounters resistance. Every problem you solve expands your problem-solving capacity. Every fear you face diminishes fear's hold over your choices. Every act of kindness you perform despite your own pain increases your capacity for compassion. Notice how, even as you rest here in the quiet darkness, this force continues its work within you. Your body is healing itself at the cellular level, replacing old tissues with new ones. Your mind is processing the experiences of the day, creating new neural connections, solving problems in the background of consciousness. Your heart continues its steady rhythm, your immune system maintains its vigilant protection, your entire organism participates in the ongoing miracle of maintaining and creating life. This is the will to power in its purest form, not aggressive or grasping, not seeking to diminish others to elevate itself, but steadily, quietly, persistently working to help you flourish. It requires nothing from you except your willingness to cooperate with its natural movement toward growth, creativity, and authentic self-expression. In your relationships, this force expresses itself as your desire to connect authentically with others, to understand and be understood, to give and receive love in ways that honor both your own nature and the nature of those you care about. In your work, it appears as your impulse to contribute something meaningful, to develop your skills and talents, to find ways to serve that align with your deepest values. In your personal growth, it manifests as your willingness to examine your beliefs and behaviors honestly, to change what no longer serves you, to keep becoming more truly yourself. The challenges you face are not obstacles to this creative force, but the very conditions under which it can express itself most fully. Just as a musician needs the resistance of strings to create sound, and a sculptor needs the resistance of stone to create form, you need the resistance of difficulty to develop the strength, wisdom, and compassion that represent your highest potential. Think gently of your own experiences of discovering strength you didn't know you possessed. Perhaps it was during a time of loss when you found reserves of grace you couldn't have imagined. Maybe it was in caring for someone else when your own resources seemed depleted, yet somehow you found more to give. It might have been in facing a fear that seemed insurmountable, only to discover that you were stronger than your fear. These moments reveal the truth that Nietzsche pointed toward. The power you seek is not something you must acquire from outside yourself. It is already present within you, waiting to be activated by the very challenges you sometimes wish you could avoid. This is your birthright as a living being, your natural inheritance as a conscious participant in the creative process of existence. Chapter 3: Eternal Recurrence and the Sacred Present. Your consciousness floats now in that liminal space between waking and sleeping, perfectly positioned to receive one of Nietzsche's most transformative insights. In the growing stillness of your mind, we encounter his teaching of eternal recurrence, not as a literal doctrine about the nature of time, but as a profound thought experiment designed to revolutionize your relationship with this very moment, this very experience, this very life you are living right now. Nietzsche asked us to imagine that we would live our exact same life, with all its particular joys and sorrows, triumphs and failures, loves and losses, infinite times in exactly the same way. Every moment of pain would be experienced again. Every moment of joy would return. Every mistake would be repeated. Every act of courage would be relived. The question he posed was not whether this is literally true, but whether you could embrace your life so fully that you would welcome such a fate. This thought experiment is not meant to burden you with the weight of infinite repetition, but to liberate you into the profound significance of right now. As you listen with both your conscious and unconscious mind engaged, consider what it would mean to live today as if it were exactly the day you would choose to experience forever. Not because it is perfect, for no day is perfect, but because it is yours, because you are meeting it with your full presence, your complete creativity, your deepest authenticity. The chaos you are experiencing in your life right now, the uncertainties that keep you awake, the challenges that seem overwhelming, the questions that have no easy answers. Imagine embracing these so completely that you could welcome experiencing them again and again throughout eternity. This is not a call to passive acceptance of harmful situations, but an invitation to engage so fully with what is that you transform your relationship to difficulty from victimhood to authorship. Let your breathing carry you deeper into this contemplation. Each breath you take is simultaneously an acceptance of this moment exactly as it is and a participation in creating the next moment. You are not separate from the flow of time and experience. You are woven into it, contributing to it with every choice, every response, every heartbeat. The eternal recurrence teaches us that there are no throwaway moments, no experiences that don't matter, no suffering that is meaningless. Nietzsche understood that most human anguish comes not from the events of our lives themselves, but from our resistance to those events, our insistence that reality should be different than it is. We exhaust ourselves fighting against what has already happened, or anxiously trying to control what has not yet occurred, missing the creative possibilities that exist right here, right now. When we fully accept what is present, not passively, but with the active acceptance of a skilled dancer who receives their partner's lead and transforms it into beauty, we liberate enormous energy for effective response. This does not mean becoming passive or accepting harmful situations without working to change them. Rather, it means responding to what is with full presence and wisdom rather than wasting our vital energy on what should be or what we wish were different. It means saving our strength for creative action rather than exhausting ourselves in futile resistance to reality. Consider a time when you experienced what seemed like an unbearable loss. In that moment, it might have felt impossible to imagine ever choosing to experience such pain. Yet if you look at how that experience changed you, what it taught you about love or resilience or compassion, how it deepened your appreciation for what remains or opened your heart to others who suffer, you might discover that you would not erase it from your history, even if you could. This is the alchemy of eternal recurrence. It transforms every experience, even the most painful ones, into something sacred through the simple act of complete acceptance. When we no longer need our lives to be different than they are, we can engage fully with making them as beautiful and meaningful as possible. As you rest here in the gentle darkness, practice this kind of radical acceptance with whatever is present in your experience. Perhaps there are sounds from outside that disturb the perfect quiet you might prefer. Maybe there are physical sensations, tension in your shoulders, a restless feeling in your legs, that are less than ideal. It's possible that thoughts keep arising, concerns about tomorrow or regrets about yesterday that pull your attention away from this peaceful moment. Instead of using your energy to fight these elements of your present experience, try the Nietzschean approach of complete embrace. Welcome them as part of the totality of this moment that you would choose to live eternally. Notice how this shifts your relationship to discomfort. When you stop using your precious energy to resist what is already here, that energy becomes available for creativity, for problem solving, for growth, for peace. This is the practical magic of eternal recurrence. It teaches us to find the sacred in the ordinary, the meaningful in the mundane, the peaceful in the imperfect. It reminds us that this moment, exactly as it is the only moment we have, and therefore the most valuable thing in existence. It invites us to live with such presence, such authenticity, such creative engagement that we could welcome reliving this very experience for all eternity. The chaos in your life, viewed through this lens, becomes not something that happens to you but something you participate in consciously. You are not just enduring your difficulties, you are dancing with them, learning from them, being transformed by them into someone stronger, wiser, more compassionate than you were before. Chapter 4: Amor Fati, the Love of Fate. Deeper now into the healing darkness, let yourself be carried by these ancient wisdoms into an even more profound state of receptivity. We come now to perhaps Nietzsche's most revolutionary teaching, the concept that has the power to transform any life, no matter how difficult, amor fati, which translates as love of fate. This goes far beyond mere acceptance to embrace, beyond tolerance to celebration, beyond endurance to profound gratitude for everything, absolutely everything, that has shaped you into the unique human being you are right now. Your muscles are completely relaxed now, your breathing soft and effortless. In this state of deep receptivity, consider the radical possibility that everything that has happened in your life, including the parts you would rather forget, the experiences you still wish had been different, the pain you carry like an old wound, has been necessary for you to become the person capable of listening to these words right now. Not because someone or something planned it this way, but because you have within you the power to transform any experience into wisdom, any wound into a source of compassion, any failure into a foundation for resilience. Amor fati is not about pretending that painful experiences were pleasant when they occurred. Nietzsche was not advocating a denial of suffering or a superficial positive thinking that glosses over real pain. He was pointing towards something far more profound, the recognition that you are strong enough, creative enough, wise enough to extract gold from any or that life provides. The very qualities you most value in yourself, your empathy, your determination, your depth of understanding, your capacity for joy, likely developed through challenges that tested and strengthened these capacities. Think for a moment of someone you deeply admire, perhaps someone who has overcome significant difficulties with grace and wisdom. Their beauty as a human being does not come from having lived an easy life, but from how they have transformed their struggles into strength, their pain into compassion, their confusion into clarity. Their wounds have become sources of healing for others. Their failures have taught them humility that makes their successes meaningful. Their losses have deepened their appreciation for what remains. This is the alchemy of amor fati, the transformation of lead experience into golden wisdom. It is not a philosophical theory but a lived practice, a way of engaging with your own history that honors both the pain you have endured and the strength you have developed through enduring it. As you listen with your mind growing quieter, more still, allow yourself to feel genuine gratitude even for your most difficult experiences. Not because they were pleasant, they were not, but because they were yours, because you survived them, because they taught you things about resilience and courage that you could not have learned any other way. This gratitude is not forced or artificial. It arises naturally when we truly understand the interconnectedness of all our experiences, when we see how each thread in the tapestry of our lives contributes to the pattern of who we have become. Your current challenges, the chaos you are facing right now, are also part of this transformative process. They are not interruptions to your real life. They are your real life, the raw material from which you are crafting a self strong enough to handle whatever comes, wise enough to find meaning in any circumstance, loving enough to extend compassion to yourself and others who struggle. Nietzsche wrote his own version of this truth. My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it. All idealism is mendacity in the face of what is necessary, but love it. This is not resignation but the deepest possible engagement with life as it is. It is the recognition that this moment, this experience, this existence is the only one you have, and therefore the most precious thing imaginable. Consider how this principle might transform your relationship with your own past. Instead of carrying regret about mistakes you made, you could hold gratitude for the lessons they taught. Instead of resenting the people who hurt you, you could appreciate how those experiences developed your capacity for forgiveness and compassion. Instead of wishing your childhood had been different, you could honor how it shaped your particular strengths and sensitivities. This does not mean excusing harmful behavior or pretending that abuse was acceptable. It means recognizing that you have the power to determine what meaning you make from your experiences, what you choose to do with the wisdom that suffering can provide. You can honor your pain while refusing to let it define your future. You can acknowledge the reality of harm while choosing to become someone who heals rather than someone who perpetuates injury. The practice of amor fati extends to your present circumstances as well. The relationship that challenges you, the work that frustrates you, the health issues that limit you, the financial pressures that stress you. What if these were not obstacles to your happiness but the very conditions under which your particular form of happiness could develop? What if they were not preventing you from becoming who you're meant to be, but actually the means by which that becoming occurs? Feel this possibility settling into your consciousness as you rest. Your breath moving in and out, your heart beating steadily, your mind processing these ideas. All of this is part of the fate you can learn to love. All of this is part of the story that only you can tell, the unique contribution that only you can make to the great tapestry of human experience. This love of fate does not make you passive, it makes you incredibly powerful. When you no longer waste energy resisting what has already happened or what is currently happening, you have all of your energy available for creative response. When you no longer need reality to be different than it is, you can work with reality as it is to create outcomes aligned with your deepest values. When you love your fate, you become able to shape your fate. Chapter 5. The Übermensch as Self-Creation. Your consciousness floats now in peaceful suspension, open to receiving truths that can only be absorbed in states of deep receptivity. We turn our attention to one of Nietzsche's most misunderstood yet profound concepts, the Übermensch, often translated as Overman or Superman. This is not about becoming superior to others or developing superhuman powers. It is about something far more beautiful and achievable, becoming the author of your own values, the creator of your own meaning, the sculptor of your own character. The Übermensch represents the human being who has moved beyond merely reacting to life to actively creating life. It is the person who has taken full responsibility not just for their actions, but for their reactions, their interpretations, their growth, their contribution to the world. It is you, recognizing your power to transform any situation into an opportunity for becoming more authentically yourself. As you rest here in the gentle darkness, breathing softly and naturally, consider the ways you have already been engaged in this process of self-creation throughout your life. Every choice you have made, from the small decisions about how to spend your time to the large ones about whom to love and what work to pursue, has been an act of self-creation. Every value you have adopted, examined, and perhaps later abandoned or refined has been part of sculpting your character. Every habit you have developed or changed has been a choice about who you will become. You are not a fixed entity, some unchanging essence that simply endures through time. You are a dynamic process, a constantly unfolding story, a work of art in progress with yourself as both the artist and the medium. This recognition is simultaneously humbling and empowering. Humbling because it places the responsibility for your life squarely in your own hands. Empowering because it means you are never trapped by your past, your circumstances, or even your own previous choices. The chaos in your life, viewed from this perspective, becomes not an obstacle to your self-creation but the very medium in which your creation occurs. Just as a sculptor needs marble to create a statue, and a composer needs silence to create music, you need the raw material of lived experience, including difficult experience, to create yourself. The challenges you face are not punishments or cosmic mistakes. They are the necessary resistance against which your strength develops, the problems that call forth your creativity, the questions that evoke your wisdom. Think of specific areas in your life where you have already moved beyond simply accepting what was handed to you to actively creating what you wanted to see. Perhaps in your relationships, where you learn to communicate more clearly, to set boundaries more effectively, to love more generously. Maybe in your work, where you developed skills that interested you, took on projects that aligned with your values, or created opportunities that didn't previously exist. It might be in your personal growth, where you overcame limiting beliefs about yourself, developed new capacities, or changed patterns of behavior that no longer served you. These are all examples of your Übermensch nature expressing itself, your capacity to transcend your conditioning, to choose your responses, to create meaning from whatever raw material life provides. This creative power is not something you must acquire from outside yourself. It is your birthright as a conscious being, your fundamental nature as a creature capable of self-reflection and choice. Nietzsche understood that becoming an Übermensch is not a destination but a way of traveling through life. It is not about achieving some final state of perfection or superiority, but about approaching each day, each challenge, each relationship as an opportunity to express your creativity, your values, your unique perspective. It is about taking responsibility not just for your circumstances, but for your responses to your circumstances. This responsibility extends to your interpretation of events. Two people can experience the same objective situation and create entirely different meanings from it. One person loses a job and sees themselves as a failure. Another loses a job and sees it as an opportunity to pursue work more aligned with their values. One person faces illness and becomes bitter about life's unfairness. Another faces illness and discovers deep gratitude for what remains. The events are the same. The self-creation that occurs through interpretation is radically different. As these ideas settle into your relaxed consciousness, feel the quiet strength that comes from recognizing your own creative power. You are not just surviving your life, you are authoring it. You are not just coping with chaos, you are transforming it into the story of your becoming. You are not just enduring your experiences, you are creating meaning from them that contributes to your own growth and to the wisdom available to others who face similar challenges. This does not mean that all experiences are equally pleasant or that you should welcome harm. It means recognizing that you have the power to determine what any experience means for your development, what you choose to learn from it, how you allow it to shape your character. You can choose to let suffering make you bitter or let it develop your compassion. You can choose to let failure defeat you or teach you resilience. You can choose to let loss diminish you or deepen your appreciation for what remains. The Übermensch is not someone who never experiences difficulty, but someone who has learned to transform difficulty into wisdom, pain into compassion, confusion into creativity. It is the person who has realized that they are not merely a victim of circumstances, but a conscious participant in the ongoing creation of themselves and their world. Your body demonstrates this principle even as you rest. Your cells are constantly dying and being replaced, yet you remain essentially you. Your thoughts and beliefs have changed dramatically since childhood, yet your core sense of self persists. You are simultaneously constant and changing, stable and flexible, the same person you have always been and someone completely new. This is the paradox and the power of being human. You are both the marble and the sculptor, both the story and its author. Chapter 6: The Dance of Destruction and Creation. In the deepening quiet of this night, your mind now profoundly receptive to wisdom that can only be absorbed in states of stillness, we encounter one of Nietzsche's most essential insights about the nature of growth itself, that creation and destruction are not opposites locked in eternal conflict, but partners in the ongoing dance of becoming. Every moment, something is ending and something else is beginning. Every breath dissolves the previous moment and creates the next. Even the rest you are experiencing now is simultaneously a letting go of the day that was and a preparation for the day that will be. Your breathing has become so natural, so effortless, that it requires no conscious attention. This is how the deepest transformations often work, not through dramatic effort or forced change, but through the subtle, persistent rhythm of release and renewal. With each exhale, you let go of what your body no longer needs, of thoughts that no longer serve, of tensions that have outlived their purpose. With each inhale, you draw in not just oxygen, but fresh possibility, new potential, the raw materials for continued growth and healing. This is the dance that Nietzsche recognized as fundamental to all life, to all growth, to all creative expression. In your personal history, you have lived this rhythm countless times, though you may not have recognized it as such. Relationships that ended, painful as their endings were, made space for new connections that could not have developed while you were fully committed elsewhere. Jobs that disappeared, frightening as their loss felt, led to opportunities you could not have imagined while you were settled in familiar routines. Versions of yourself that you outgrew, old beliefs, old patterns, old limitations, had to dissolve before new capacities could emerge. What felt like pure loss at the time often revealed itself, with the passage of time and the development of perspective, to have been necessary clearing for what came next. The relationship that ended taught you about your own needs and boundaries in ways that prepare you for more authentic connection. The job you lost freed you to discover work that better matches your values and abilities. The old version of yourself that had to die made room for qualities and capabilities you didn't know you possessed. The chaos you are experiencing now is also part of this eternal dance of dissolution and creation. The confusion, the uncertainty, the sense that old ways of being no longer work effectively, these are not signs of failure or breakdown, but symptoms of impending transformation. Something in your psyche is composting, breaking down to provide nutrients for new growth. Something is being released so that something more authentic, more aligned with who you are becoming, can emerge. Nietzsche wrote, "One must be a chaos to give birth to a dancing star." The chaos within you right now is not random or meaningless. It is the fertile disorder from which your next evolution emerges. Like a forest fire that clears away undergrowth so that new trees can access sunlight and nutrients, the destruction of your old assumptions, old patterns, old securities creates space for wisdom and strength you have not yet discovered. This process requires a particular kind of courage. The courage to let go of what is familiar even when you cannot yet see clearly what will replace it. It requires trust in your own resilience, confidence in your capacity to find your footing even on unfamiliar ground. It requires faith in the creative intelligence that operates within you, that has guided you through every previous transformation, that knows how to grow even when your conscious mind cannot understand the process. Consider the natural world as a teacher in this regard. Trees release their leaves each autumn, not because the leaves are useless, but because holding on to them would prevent the tree from surviving the winter and growing new leaves in the spring. Caterpillars must literally dissolve inside their chrysalis, becoming a kind of organic soup, before they can reorganize themselves into butterflies. Snakes must shed their skin periodically, becoming vulnerable during the process, but emerging larger and stronger. These natural processes mirror what occurs in human psychological and spiritual development. There are times when what we have been must die for what we are becoming to be born. There are periods when we must release our grip on familiar identities, comfortable roles, predictable patterns, not because they were wrong but because we have outgrown them. There are seasons when we must become vulnerable, uncertain, temporarily lost, so that we can find ourselves at a new level of integration and authenticity. As you rest here in the darkness, you are participating actively in this eternal cycle of renewal. Your body is breaking down worn-out cells and building new ones. Your brain is processing the experiences of the day, strengthening important neural pathways and allowing others to fade. Your unconscious mind is working on problems, making connections, preparing insights that will emerge in your conscious awareness when you need them. This is the profound intelligence of the destruction-creation cycle. It operates not according to your conscious preferences or timeline, but according to a deeper wisdom that knows what you need for your continued growth and development. You do not have to manage every aspect of your transformation. You do not have to understand every element of the chaos you are experiencing. You need only cooperate with the process that is already underway. Trust in the intelligence that operates through you even when your rational mind cannot grasp its direction. Feel the comfort that comes with this recognition. You are held by forces far greater than your individual will, yet these forces work through your choices, your attention, your willingness to keep growing even when growth is uncomfortable. The dancing star that Nietzsche spoke of is not something you will become in some distant future. It is something you are becoming right now, in this moment, through your willingness to embrace both the dissolution of what was and the emergence of what is becoming. The destruction you fear may be the very destruction that liberates you. The chaos that disturbs your peace may be the chaos that births your greatest creativity. The endings that break your heart may be the endings that make space for more authentic beginnings. This is not consolation philosophy but lived truth. The recognition that life's creative force often appears first as the destruction of what we thought we needed, clearing the way for what we actually need to flourish. Chapter 7: Practical Wisdom for Daily Resilience. As your consciousness drifts in that peaceful borderland between sleeping and waking, let us explore together how Nietzsche's profound insights translate into the practical art of living with resilience and grace in your daily life. The philosopher who has guided us through this night journey was not an ivory tower theorist, but someone who faced the ordinary struggles that touch every human life: poor health, financial uncertainty, social isolation, professional rejection. His wisdom emerges not from abstract speculation but from the lived experience of finding strength and meaning in genuinely difficult circumstances. Your breathing continues its gentle, automatic rhythm as we consider how you might carry these insights into tomorrow, and into all the tomorrows that follow. Resilience, in the Nietzschean sense, begins with a fundamental shift in perspective, the recognition that you are not trying to eliminate challenge from your life, but to dance with it more skillfully, more creatively, more authentically. When you wake tomorrow and face whatever challenges await you, the difficult conversation you've been avoiding, the decision you must make without complete information, the relationship that requires attention, the work that demands your best effort even when you don't feel like giving it, remember that you are not simply enduring these experiences. You are participating consciously in your own creation through them. Each difficult conversation is an opportunity to practice authentic communication and discover what you truly value. Each uncertain decision is a chance to develop the kind of trust in yourself that comes only from successfully navigating the unknown. Each challenging relationship is an invitation to love more skillfully, with better boundaries and greater compassion. The practice of amor fati becomes especially transformative when applied to the small, seemingly insignificant disruptions that punctuate every day. The traffic jam that makes you late for an important meeting, the technology that fails when you need it most, the person who misunderstands your intentions despite your careful communication, the physical discomfort that reminds you of your body's limitations. These minor chaos events are perfect training grounds for the deeper challenges that life sometimes presents. When you can meet a delayed flight with equanimity, recognizing it as an opportunity to practice patience and adaptability, you build capacity for grace during more significant disruptions. When you can respond to criticism with curiosity rather than defensiveness, exploring what might be useful in the feedback while maintaining your own center, you develop skills that serve you in all your relationships. When you can find meaning and purpose even in tasks that don't immediately inspire you, you discover your capacity to bring creativity and excellence to any situation. Notice how your body, even as it rests in comfort, continuously demonstrates these principles of practical resilience. It automatically adjusts to changes in temperature without your conscious intervention. It adapts its position when circulation becomes restricted. It finds ways to be comfortable even when conditions are not ideal. Your physical form operates according to the biological wisdom that adaptation, not resistance, is the key to thriving in a constantly changing environment. Your relationships, too, can become laboratories for practicing Nietzschean resilience. Instead of trying to control how others behave or respond, an exhausting and ultimately futile endeavor, you can focus your energy on how you show up, how you communicate your truth, how you maintain your own center while remaining genuinely open to connection. Instead of seeing conflict as evidence of relationship failure, you can recognize it as information about what matters deeply to different people, as an opportunity for deeper understanding and more authentic relating. The will to power that Nietzsche described expresses itself practically in your commitment to continuous growth, to learning from every experience, to contributing something valuable to the lives you touch. It shows up in your willingness to develop new skills even when the learning process is frustrating, to face uncomfortable truths about yourself when such facing serves your development, to extend forgiveness when it serves healing, to maintain boundaries when they serve integrity. In your work life, whatever form it takes, you can practice the art of finding meaning and purpose even in responsibilities that don't immediately capture your imagination. This is not about accepting poor treatment or remaining in situations that fundamentally conflict with your values, but about bringing your full creativity and attention to whatever task is before you while also working systematically toward conditions that better support your flourishing. The concept of eternal recurrence provides a practical test for your choices. Am I living today in a way that I could embrace repeating infinitely? This is not a call to perfection, for perfect days do not exist, but an invitation to presence, to authenticity, to engagement with what is rather than distraction by what might be or regret about what was. When you face your current challenges tomorrow, you can ask yourself, how would I meet this situation if I knew I would live this exact scenario countless times throughout eternity? This question naturally guides you toward responses characterized by wisdom rather than reactivity, by creativity rather than habit, by love rather than fear. The practice of viewing obstacles as opportunities becomes especially powerful when applied consistently to small irritations. The colleague whose working style differs from yours becomes a teacher about flexibility and communication. The unexpected expense becomes a lesson in resourcefulness and priority setting. The physical limitation becomes an invitation to discover different ways of achieving your goals. As you absorb these practical insights on the threshold of sleep, trust that your unconscious mind will find ways to integrate them into your lived experience. You do not need to remember every specific suggestion or apply every principle consciously. The deeper wisdom will work through you as you meet each day with the qualities Nietzsche most valued: courage to face reality as it is, creativity to transform obstacles into opportunities, and a more fatty, the love of fate that allows you to embrace your life so completely that you could welcome living it again and again throughout eternity. Your resilience is not something you must build from nothing, but something you must recognize and cultivate within yourself. It is already present in every challenge you have survived, every adaptation you have made, every moment you have chosen growth over stagnation, love over fear, creation over destruction. Tomorrow, you will have new opportunities to express this resilience, to dance with chaos, to transform difficulty into wisdom, to live with the profound authenticity that Nietzsche called the highest human achievement. Chapter 8: Integration and Sacred Rest. Now, in these final minutes of our nocturnal journey together, allow yourself to settle into the deepest possible rest. Your mind has been nourished by ancient wisdom made fresh, by insights that connect your personal struggles to the eternal human quest for meaning and strength. As your breathing becomes even softer, even more effortless, feel how these philosophical truths are becoming part of your cellular memory, integrating not as intellectual concepts but as lived understanding that will guide your choices and responses in ways both conscious and unconscious. The chaos in your life, whatever form it has taken, whatever form it may take tomorrow, need no longer feel like pure chaos. Through the lens of Nietzschean wisdom, it reveals itself as the raw material of your becoming, the medium in which your unique form of strength develops, the canvas on which you paint the masterpiece of your lived experience. Every challenge you face contains within it the seed of capability you have not yet discovered. Every setback creates space for a comeback you could not have imagined before experiencing the setback. Every ending makes possible a beginning that honors both what was lost and what can still be created. Your body knows this truth with an intelligence deeper than thought. It has carried you through every difficulty you have ever encountered, every illness, every heartbreak, every moment of despair or confusion. It has never stopped working on your behalf, never ceased its quiet labor of maintaining the complex miracle of your existence. Even now, as you rest in comfort and safety, this same biological wisdom continues its work of integration, processing nutrients, eliminating toxins, healing micro-injuries, strengthening neural pathways, preparing you for whatever tomorrow may bring. Feel the profound gratitude that naturally arises when you recognize the extent of the support you receive, not only from other people but from the deeper patterns of existence itself. Your heart beats approximately 100,000 times each day without your conscious direction. Your lungs process roughly 20,000 breaths in the same period without your management. Your brain coordinates millions of neural firings each second, maintaining consciousness, processing sensory input, creating thoughts and feelings and dreams. You are held, supported, sustained by an intelligence far vaster than your individual will, yet this cosmic intelligence expresses itself through your choices, your attention, your willingness to keep growing and serving and loving even when such activities require courage. This is perhaps the ultimate teaching about resilience that emerges from our night-long exploration of Nietzschean wisdom. You are not separate from life, struggling against hostile forces. You are life itself, expressing its fundamental drive to flourish, to create, to transcend apparent limitations. When you align yourself with this deeper current of creative becoming, you discover strength you did not know you possessed. When you cooperate with existence rather than fighting against it, obstacles reveal themselves as stepping stones, chaos transforms into creativity, and even suffering becomes a teacher of compassion and wisdom. The serenity you feel now, settling over your relaxed body and quiet mind like a gentle blanket, is not an escape from the challenges of existence but the peace that comes from understanding your rightful place within the great dance of becoming and dissolving, creating and releasing, growing and resting that characterizes all life. You belong here, in this moment, in this body, in this particular life with its unique mixture of joy and sorrow, success and failure, clarity and confusion. Your struggles matter precisely because they are the means through which you develop capacities that might otherwise remain dormant. Your joys matter because they reveal your natural alignment with the creative force of existence itself. The practical applications we have explored, learning to dance with daily disruptions, finding meaning in mundane tasks, practicing amor fati with minor irritations, viewing relationships as opportunities for growth rather than sources of validation. These are not merely coping strategies but expressions of profound philosophical truth. When you respond to difficulty with creativity rather than reactivity, you participate consciously in the eternal process of transformation that Nietzsche recognized as the essence of being human. As you drift now toward the healing darkness of sleep, carry with you the recognition that this transformation is already underway. You do not need to force it or manage it or understand it completely. You need only trust the intelligence that has brought you this far and will continue to guide you forward. The same power that enables seeds to sprout in darkness, that teaches rivers to flow around obstacles, that allows broken bones to heal stronger than before. This power operates within your life, seeking expression through your choices, your relationships, your creative responses to whatever circumstances you encounter. Your current challenges, whatever they may be, are not interruptions to your spiritual development but the very context in which such development occurs. The chaos you are experiencing is not evidence that something has gone wrong with your life but proof that you are alive, growing, evolving in ways that require the dissolution of old forms and the creation of new ones. The uncertainty you sometimes feel is not a sign of weakness but an indication that you are growing beyond the boundaries of your previous understanding. Sleep now, knowing that this process of transformation continues even in rest, especially in rest. Your dreams will process and integrate the insights of this night, creating new neural pathways, dissolving old patterns of thought and feeling that no longer serve your highest good. Your unconscious mind will solve problems that seemed intractable to conscious effort, make connections that eluded rational analysis, prepare possibilities that will emerge into awareness when you need them most. Rest in the profound confidence that you have within yourself everything necessary to meet whatever comes. Trust in the process that has carried you through every previous challenge and will continue to support your growth through future ones. Feel yourself held by the eternal dance of creation and destruction, knowing that both aspects serve the ultimate goal of helping you become more fully, authentically, courageously yourself. The journey through chaos toward serenity is not a destination you will reach someday in the future. It is a way of traveling that you can begin in any moment, including this moment, including the moment when you wake tomorrow. Each time you choose presence over distraction, creativity over reactivity, love over fear, you participate in the transformation of chaos into serenity. Each time you meet difficulty with the recognition that it contains hidden gifts, you practice the art of resilient living that Nietzsche both taught and embodied. Tomorrow, when you wake refreshed by this deep rest, you will carry these insights not as abstract philosophical concepts but as lived wisdom integrated into your way of being. You will find yourself responding to challenges with greater equanimity, meeting uncertainty with increased curiosity, approaching relationships with deeper authenticity. You will remember, perhaps not with your conscious mind but with your whole being, that resilience is your birthright, creativity is your essence, and the chaos of existence is not your enemy but your partner in the eternal dance of becoming. The dancing star that Nietzsche spoke of, the beautiful creation that emerges from chaos, is not something separate from you that you must strive to become. It is what you already are, what you have always been, what you are discovering yourself to be through every challenge faced with courage, every difficulty transformed into wisdom, every moment of chaos alchemized into serenity through the magic of conscious, authentic, loving engagement with whatever life presents. Rest now in this truth. Sleep well in this understanding. Wake tomorrow ready to dance with whatever comes, knowing that you are both the dancer and the dance, both the chaos and the serenity, both the question and the answer to what it means to live fully human life in an endlessly creative universe. The night embraces you now with perfect acceptance. Let yourself be carried into healing darkness, into the sacred rest from which all renewal springs, into the peace that surpasses understanding because it includes everything, joy and sorrow, certainty and confusion, order and chaos, in one great symphony of becoming. Sleep well, transform well, become well.